My name is Daniel. I'm 38 years old. I live in a small town outside Denver, Colorado. I've been married to my wife Lauren for 12 years. We have 3 children, Sophie who is 9, Benjamin who is 6, and Amelia who just turned 3. On paper, we had the perfect life. I'm an architect. Lauren is a real estate agent. We have a 4-bedroom colonial with a wraparound porch. We have 2 cars, a golden retriever named Gus, and a vegetable garden that produces more zucchini than any family could ever eat. On paper, I was the luckiest man alive. But paper lies. The first time I suspected something was wrong was a Tuesday in October. Nothing dramatic. Nothing obvious. Just a feeling, that low, humming sense that something had shifted in my house, in my marriage, in my wife's eyes when she looked at me. I came home early from work. A meeting got cancelled. I had no reason to be suspicious. None. I just wanted to see my kids before they went to bed. I walked in the front door at 6:30 p.m. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Lauren. I called out. No answer. I walked through the kitchen. Dishes in the sink. Macaroni dried onto a pot on the stove. Sophie's backpack on the floor. Ben's shoes by the back door. Normal chaos. Nothing strange. But Lauren's car was. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I had no proof. Just a feeling. Just a name on a phone screen. Just the memory of her hand tilting the screen away from me like I was a stranger. But I started watching. Not in an obvious way. I didn't follow her to work. I didn't check her mileage. I just paid attention. The way you pay attention to a puzzle you didn't know you were solving. The changes were small at first. Lauren started going to the gym 3 times a week. That was new. She'd never been a gym person. She said she wanted to get her body back after Amelia. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Then she started coming home later from work appointments. Real estate is flexible, she said. Showings happen at all hours. Sometimes she'd leave at 10 a.m. and not come back until 8 p.m. Too late for dinner. Too late for the kids' bath time. Too late for us. I asked her about it once. Gently. Carefully. You're working a lot lately. I'm building my business, Daniel. You want me to contribute. This is how I contribute. She wasn't wrong. I had asked her to take on more work. We had bills. The house needed a new roof. Sophie needed braces. Life was expensive. I couldn't do it alone. So I let it go. I made dinner. I bathed the kids. I read bedtime stories. I fell asleep on the couch watching sports highlights. And Lauren stayed out late. The second sign came in December. Christmas shopping season. Lauren handed me her phone to look at a gift idea for her mother. A rare moment of trust. I glanced at her open tabs. One of them was a hotel booking site. Not the main page. A specific confirmation page for a room at the Marriott in downtown Denver. Are we going somewhere? I asked. Casual. She snatched the phone back. Quick. Too quick. That's for my girls' trip next month. Remember? I told you. Jenna and I are doing a spa weekend. I didn't remember. But I nodded anyway. What hotel? The Marriott. It's near the spa. Which Marriott? She paused. Downtown. I looked at her. She looked at me. Something flickered in her eyes. Not guilt. Irritation. Like I was annoying her by asking questions. Okay, I said. Sounds fun. She smiled. Kissed my cheek. Walked away. I went into the garage and sat in my car for 20 minutes. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there with my hands on the steering wheel, staring at the wall, trying to convince myself that I was being paranoid. But I wasn't. The third sign was the most damning. January 15th, Lauren's girls' trip. She packed a small suitcase. Told me she'd be back Sunday night. Kissed the kids goodbye. Kissed me goodbye. Walked out the door. I waited 30 minutes. Then I called the Marriott downtown. Hi, I'm trying to reach my wife's room. She just checked in. Lauren Parker. A pause. Typing. I'm sorry, sir, I don't have a Lauren Parker checked in. Maybe under my name? Daniel Parker. Another pause. Typing. No, sir. No Parker at all tonight. Are you sure it's the downtown Marriott? Yes. I'm sure. I'm sorry. No reservation under either name. I hung up. Called the other Marriott locations in Denver. Airport. Tech Center. Cherry Creek. None of them had a Lauren Parker. I called the Westin. The Sheraton. The Hyatt. Nothing. Then I called the Red Roof Inn on Colfax. A long shot. The kind of place you go when you don't want to be found. Hi, I'm looking for a guest. Lauren Parker. She checked in today. A longer pause. Then, I'm not supposed to give out guest information, sir. I'm her husband. It's an emergency. Her mother is in the hospital. Another pause. Then a sigh. Room 217. But I didn't tell you. I hung up. Sat in my kitchen. Stared at the wall. Red Roof Inn. Not a spa. Not a girls' trip. A $50 room off the highway. I didn't go there. I wanted to. Every cell in my body wanted to drive to that hotel, kick down that door, and see for myself. But I didn't. Because I knew what I would find. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Once I saw it, the marriage was over. Once I saw it, my children's lives would change forever. So I sat in my kitchen, poured a glass of whiskey, drank it, poured another. Then I called a private investigator. His name was Frank. Former military. Grey crew cut. No sense of humor. He came recommended by a lawyer I found on a forum I never thought I'd visit, filled with men who had walked the same path I was walking. Frank met me at a diner the next morning. I slid an envelope across the table. $5,000 in cash. I need you to find out who my wife is seeing. Where they go. What they do. How long it's been going on. Frank didn't blink. Didn't ask questions. Just took the envelope. Give me 2 weeks. He was faster than that. He called me in 10 days. Her name is Lauren Parker. She's been seeing a man named Mark Webber for approximately 14 months. 14 months. Over a year. I did the math. It started before Amelia's first birthday. Before our last anniversary. Before I bought her the necklace she wore every day. My stomach turned. Where do they meet? Mostly hotels. Red Roof Inn on Colfax is their regular spot. Once a week, sometimes twice. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sometimes weekends when she tells you she's working. I closed my eyes. Who is he? Contractor. Runs his own small construction company. Divorced. No kids. He's 42. Lives in Lakewood. Drives a black Ford F-150. Frank slid a manila envelope across the table. I opened it. Photos. Lauren and a man I'd never seen before. Walking into the Red Roof Inn. Laughing in a parking lot. Kissing outside a restaurant I'd never been to. She looked happy. Happier than I'd seen her in years. That was the part that broke me. Not the lies. Not the betrayal. Not the hotel rooms or the 14 months of secrets. It was her smile. She smiled at him the way she used to smile at me. I put the photos back in the envelope. Thanked Frank. Drove home. Sat in my driveway for an hour. Then I went inside, hugged my children, and pretended everything was fine. Because I wasn't ready yet. I needed a plan. I spent the next month planning. Not confronting. Not crying. Not drinking myself into a stupid confession. Just planning. I met with a lawyer named Susan Crane. She was 60 years old, sharp as a razor, and divorced 3 times herself. She knew the game better than anyone. You have the evidence, she said, flipping through Frank's photos. The affair, the hotels, the timeline. That's enough for a clean divorce. You'll get the house, the kids, and enough child support to keep her from bleeding you dry. That's not what I want. Susan looked up. What do you want? I want her to confess. In front of witnesses. I want her to say the words out loud. I want her to look at me and admit that she threw away 12 years for a contractor in a black Ford truck. Susan leaned back. That's not legal advice. That's emotional. And emotional gets expensive. I have the money. I'm not worried about the money. I'm worried about you. Revenge feels good in the moment, but it doesn't fill the hole. It just digs it deeper. I don't care about the hole. I care about the truth. Susan studied me for a long moment. Then she nodded.
Fine.
But if you do this your way, you do it clean. No violence.
No threats. No blackmail.
You get her to confess, and then you hand her the divorce papers. That's it. Nothing more. Agreed. I left her office and started building my plan. The first thing I did was install a voice-activated recorder in Lauren's car. It was legal in Colorado because I owned the vehicle. I hid it under the driver's seat, taped to the metal frame. Frank helped me set it up. It could record for up to 72 hours on a single charge. The second thing I did was contact Mark Webber's ex-wife. Her name was Teresa. I found her on Facebook. She lived in a small apartment in Lakewood. I sent her a message. You don't know me. My name is Daniel Parker. My wife is having an affair with your ex-husband. I'd like to talk. She replied within an hour. I know all about Mark. Meet me tomorrow at the Starbucks on Wadsworth.
10 Uhr morgens.
Teresa was a tired woman. 40 years old but looked 50. Her eyes had that hollow look, the same one I was starting to see in my own mirror. Mark destroyed our marriage the same way, she said, stirring her coffee. Affairs. Lies. He told me he was working late. He told me he was with friends. He told me I was crazy for not trusting him. How long were you married? 8 years. I caught him with a real estate agent. Sound familiar? I nodded. What did you do? I divorced him. Took everything. The house, the car, the retirement account. He didn't fight because he knew I had the proof. She looked at me. You have proof. Photos. Hotel receipts. A recorder in her car. She smiled for the first time. Then you're already ahead of where I was. We talked for 2 hours. She told me everything about Mark. His habits, his weaknesses, his patterns. He was careful but not careful enough. He used the same hotel chain. He paid in cash but always left a paper trail. He bragged to his friends about his girlfriends. He'll deny everything, Teresa said, until you show him the proof. Then he'll crumble. He's a coward. Always has been. I thanked her. Went home. Checked the recorder. Lauren had driven to the Red Roof in twice that week. The recorder caught everything. Phone calls. Conversations. Her voice, soft and playful, saying things she hadn't said to me in years. I miss you, she said to Mark. When can I see you again? Thursday, he said. Same time. Same place. I can't wait. She couldn't wait. While I was at home, making dinner for our children, helping Sophie with her math homework, rocking Amelia to sleep, she couldn't wait to be with him. I copied the files to a secure drive. 3 copies. 1 for my lawyer. 1 for Frank. 1 for me. Then I made the final decision. I wasn't going to confront her in private. I wasn't going to let her cry and apologize and promise to change. I wasn't going to give her the chance to spin the story, to tell our friends and family that I was controlling, that I was jealous, that I had imagined it all. I was going to do it in public, in front of people who mattered. Sophie's birthday was coming up, April 12th. She would be 10 years old. We were planning a party at our house. Family. Close friends. Lauren's mother and father. Her sister Megan. My brother Tom. People who loved us. People who would remember what happened for the rest of their lives. I called Susan. The party is in 3 weeks. I want to serve the divorce papers at the end of the night. In front of everyone. Silence. Then, Daniel, that's a terrible idea. I know. Then why are you doing it? Because I want her to remember. Every birthday for the rest of her life, she'll think about what she lost. Not just me. Not just the marriage. But the respect of everyone in that room. That's not healing. That's theater. Maybe. But it's my theater. Susan sighed. I'll have the papers ready. But I'm putting a note in your file that I advised against this. Do whatever you need to do. I hung up. Walked to the garage. Sat in my car. Stared at the wall. 3 weeks. The next 21 days were the longest of my life. I smiled at Lauren. Made her coffee. Kissed her goodbye. Watched her drive away to meet Mark. Listened to the recordings of their phone calls. Held our children. Cooked dinner. Slept in the same bed as a woman who didn't love me. It was torture. But I held on. Because I knew what was coming. I bought a small digital projector. The kind you can connect to a laptop and project onto a wall. I set it up in the living room, hidden behind the couch. I loaded a slideshow onto my laptop. Photos of our wedding. Photos of Sophie as a baby. Photos of birthdays, vacations, holidays. 12 years of memories. The last slide was different. It wasn't a photo. It was text. Tonight, you will hear the truth. Stay in your seats. Do not leave. I practiced the timing. The projector would turn on at 9 p.m., right after cake. The living room lights would dim. The slideshow would play for 3 minutes. Then the last slide. Then the audio. The recording I had chosen was from 2 weeks ago. Lauren and Mark in her car, parked outside the Red Roof Inn. Her voice, clear and unashamed. Sometimes I think about leaving him. Just packing a bag and never coming back. Mark, then do it. Lauren, I can't. The kids. Mark, the kids will be fine. Kids are resilient. Lauren, you don't have kids. You don't understand. Mark, I understand that you're miserable. I understand that he doesn't touch you the way I do. I understand that you fake every orgasm you've ever had with him. Lauren, that's not. Mark, it's true. You told me. You said, and I quote, I close my eyes and pretend he's you. Lauren, I shouldn't have said that. Mark, but you did. Because it's true. The recording went on for another 4 minutes. Lauren admitting to faking our intimacy. Lauren confessing that she married me because I was safe and stable and would never leave. Lauren laughing about how I didn't notice the signs. I had listened to it 100 times. It still stung. But the sting was fuel. April 12th arrived. Sunny. Warm. Perfect for a birthday party. Lauren was in a good mood. She decorated the house with streamers and balloons. She baked Sophie's favorite cake, chocolate with raspberry filling. She wore a sundress I hadn't seen before. New. She must have bought it for the occasion. Or for Mark. Everything was for Mark now. Guests started arriving at 2 p.m. Lauren's mother, Carol. Her father, Robert. Her sister, Megan. My brother Tom. Sophie's friends from school. Neighbors. People who had known us for years. Everyone smiled. Everyone hugged. Everyone said how wonderful our family was. I smiled back. I hugged back. I played the role. At 6 p.m., Sophie opened her presents. At 7 p.m., we ate dinner. At 8 p.m., Lauren brought out the cake. Everyone sang. Sophie blew out the candles. She looked so happy. So innocent. I almost stopped the plan. Almost. I looked at her face and thought about what I was about to do. How this night would be burned into her memory forever. How she would always associate her 10th birthday with the sound of her mother's lies. But then I thought about the 14 months. The hotel rooms. The recordings. The way Lauren looked at Mark in those photos. The way she used to look at me. I couldn't stop. I wouldn't stop. At 8:45 p.m., I excused myself to the bathroom. Instead, I went to the living room. Turned on the projector. Started the slideshow. Dimmed the lights using the smart home app on my phone. Then I walked back to the dining room. At 9 p.m., the living room lights dimmed. Guests turned. Murmured confusion. I stood at the doorway and watched. The slideshow began. Wedding photos. Sophie as a baby. Sophie's first steps. Ben in his hospital blanket. Amelia's tiny hand wrapped around my finger. Vacations to the beach. Christmas mornings. Halloween costumes. 12 years of joy, compressed into a 3-minute montage. Lauren smiled. Everyone smiled. Then the last slide. White text on a black background. Tonight, you will hear the truth. Stay in your seats. Do not leave. The room went silent. Then the audio began. Lauren's voice, from the car recording. Sometimes I think about leaving him. Just packing a bag and never coming back. Mark, then do it. Lauren, I can't. The kids. Mark, the kids will be fine. The room turned. I found Lauren. Her face went white. Her mouth opened. No sound came out. The recording kept playing. Lauren admitting to faking. Lauren laughing about my blindness. Lauren saying she married me because I was safe. Carol started crying. Robert's face turned to stone. Megan covered her mouth with both hands. My brother Tom stood up, looked at Lauren, and walked out of the room. Sophie didn't understand. She was 10. She looked at me, confused. Daddy, what's happening? I didn't answer. I couldn't. The recording ended. Silence. Then I walked to the center of the room. Lauren, stand up. She didn't move. I said stand up. She stood, shaking, tears streaming down her face. Everyone in this room just heard you confess. Your mother, your father, your sister, my brother, our neighbors, your daughter's friends' parents. They all know what you did, what you've been doing for 14 months. I pulled an envelope from my jacket pocket. The divorce papers. These are for you. You have 30 days to respond. I'm keeping the house. I'm keeping the kids. You can have supervised visitation until the court says otherwise. She reached for the envelope. Her hand was trembling. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to explain. The recording said everything that needs to be said. I turned to the room. I'm sorry you had to hear that, but you deserve to know the truth about the woman you've been celebrating. Then I walked to Sophie, took her hand. Come on, Bug. Let's go get ice cream. She looked at her mother, looked at me, squeezed my hand. Okay, Daddy. We walked out. Ben followed. I picked up Amelia from her high chair. We left the house, left the family, left the screaming and the crying and the chaos. I didn't look back. We went to a small ice cream shop on Main Street. Sophie ordered chocolate with sprinkles. Ben ordered vanilla. Amelia fell asleep in my arms before we even sat down. I didn't order anything. I just sat there, staring at the window, watching families walk by. Normal families. Happy families. Families that didn't just implode at a birthday party. Sophie looked at me with her mother's eyes. Daddy, is Mommy okay? I took a breath. Long, slow. Mommy made some bad choices, Bug. She hurt our family. And right now, she needs to be alone to think about what she did. Is she coming home? I don't know. Not for a while. Sophie nodded. She was too smart for her age. Too perceptive. She knew something was wrong even before the recording played. She must have seen the distance between us. The quiet dinners. The way her mother's phone was always in her hand. Was that man on the recording Uncle Mark? I blinked. What? Mommy talks about Uncle Mark sometimes. She says he's a friend from work. But she gets weird when she talks about him. Like she's hiding something. My heart cracked. How long have you known about Uncle Mark? Sophie shrugged. A few months. I heard her talking to him on the phone one night when she thought I was asleep. What did she say? Sophie looked down at her ice cream. She said she loved him, and that she wished he was her husband instead. I closed my eyes. The ice cream shop blurred. I had spent months gathering evidence, hiring Frank, installing recorders, planning the perfect revenge. And all along, my 10-year-old daughter already knew. She had known for months. She had been carrying that weight alone, not understanding it, not knowing who to tell. I reached across the table, took her hand. I'm sorry you had to hear that, Sophie. I'm sorry you had to carry that alone. You should have told me. I didn't want to make you sad. I'm already sad, Bug. But I'm going to be okay. And so are you. And so is Ben. And so is Amelia. We are going to be okay because we have each other. She squeezed my hand. Promise. Promise. We finished our ice cream. I carried Amelia to the car, buckled everyone in, drove to my brother Tom's house. He was waiting on the porch, a glass of whiskey in his hand. Everyone's inside, he said. Carol is a wreck. Robert won't speak. Megan is packing Lauren's things. Where's Lauren? Went to her mother's house. Carol drove her. She couldn't stop crying. I nodded. Sat down next to Tom on the porch swing. You did something tonight, Tom said slowly. I'm not sure if it was brave or insane. Maybe both. Maybe. But whatever it was, you didn't do it alone. I'm here. The kids are here. We are not going anywhere. I leaned my head back. Watched the stars. Thanks, Tom. He put his hand on my shoulder. Always. The next morning, I met with Susan. She had already filed the divorce papers. Lauren was served at her mother's house at 9 a.m. Carol called me an hour later. Daniel, it's Carol.
Carol.
I'm not calling to defend her. I'm calling because I need to understand. Did you know? At the party? Was that planned? Yes. Did you plan it on Sophie's birthday on purpose?
No.
Sophie's birthday was when everyone would be there. That's all. A long pause. Then, I'm not angry at you. I'm angry at her. She did this. She destroyed your family. Not you. Thank you, Carol. I'll always love my daughter, but I don't like her right now, and I don't know when that will change. She hung up. I sat in Susan's office, staring at the wall. Carol is on our side, I said. Susan nodded. That helps. But don't count on it lasting. Mothers forgive their children. Eventually. I know. The divorce took 6 months. Lauren didn't fight. She signed everything. The house, the kids, supervised visitation. Her lawyer advised her to take the deal. A public confession on recording would destroy her in court. Mark Webber disappeared from her life 3 weeks after the party. Teresa was right. He was a coward. He didn't want a woman with 3 children and a ruined reputation. He wanted easy. He wanted fun. He wanted hotel rooms and no responsibility. Lauren was none of those things anymore. She moved into a small apartment near the highway. She got a job at a real estate office that didn't ask too many questions. She saw the kids every other weekend, supervised by a court-appointed monitor. Sophie refused to speak to her for the first 2 months. Ben didn't understand. Amelia cried every time Lauren left. It was brutal. For everyone. But I held on. I painted the bedroom. Bought new sheets. Threw out the old mattress, the one where Lauren had lain next to me while texting Mark. I bought a new couch. New dishes. New towels. Everything fresh. Everything clean. Everything mine. The kids adjusted slowly. Sophie started therapy. A child psychologist who specialized in divorce and betrayal. She learned to name her feelings. To separate her mother's choices from her own worth. Ben started kindergarten. He made friends. He stopped asking when Mommy was coming home. Amelia turned 4. She had a small party at Tom's house. No drama.
No recordings.
Just cake and balloons and a bouncy castle. I started running. Every morning at 5 a.m. The streets were empty. The air was cold. I ran until my lungs burned and my legs ached. I ran until I couldn't think about Lauren or Mark or the Red Roof Inn. I ran until I was just a man. Not a victim. Not a husband. Not a revenge artist. Just a man, breathing, moving, surviving. Therapy helped. I saw Dr. Lewis twice a week. He was a small man with kind eyes and a calm voice. You're carrying a lot of anger, he said one session. Can you blame me?
No.
But anger is a backpack. You can carry it for a while. But eventually, it breaks your back. Then what do I do with it? You set it down. Not for her. For you. You set it down because you deserve to walk without that weight. I tried. Some days I could. Some days I couldn't. But I kept trying. A year after the party, I got a letter from Lauren. Handwritten. 3 pages. She apologized. She took responsibility. She didn't blame me or the marriage or the stress of the kids. She said she was broken, and she broke us, and she would spend the rest of her life trying to fix herself. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer. I didn't write back. Some things don't deserve a reply. Sophie is 11 now. She's in 5th grade. She got an award for math. She still has her mother's eyes, but she has my stubbornness. She's going to be okay. Ben is 7. He's obsessed with dinosaurs. He wants to be a paleontologist, or a firefighter, or both. Amelia is 4. She doesn't remember the party. She doesn't remember the recording. She only knows that she lives with Daddy and sees Mommy every other weekend. Someday, I'll tell her the truth. Not now, but someday. When she's old enough to understand that love and betrayal can live in the same person. That people are complicated. That her mother loved her, even if she didn't love her father the way she promised. I'm sitting on my porch as I write this. The sun is setting. The kids are inside watching a movie. Gus the golden retriever is asleep at my feet. The house isn't perfect. The fence still needs painting. The roof still needs replacing. But it's mine. It's ours. It's home. I'm not dating. Not yet. Maybe someday. Maybe not. Right now, I have 3 children, a golden retriever, and a life that doesn't include lies. That's enough. If you're reading this and going through something similar, if you found out that the person you love isn't who you thought they were, I see you. I was you. Don't let them convince you that you're crazy. Don't let them gaslight you into silence. Trust your gut. Gather your evidence. Build your plan. And when the time comes, don't be afraid to speak the truth out loud. It will hurt. God, it will hurt. The pain won't go away overnight. It won't go away in a month or a year. But eventually, the pain becomes manageable. It becomes a scar instead of an open wound. And one day, you'll wake up and realize you didn't think about her. Not once. Not all morning. That's the day you start to heal. I'm not fully healed. I don't know if I ever will be. But I'm better than I was. And tomorrow, I'll be better than today. One step at a time. One room painted blue at a time. One sunrise at a time. I got there. You will too.